Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Error Code Show. It's nice to have everybody with us again this week. Jay is back. He decided to actually come back to the country. We're going to talk about that in a minute. He was not around for a little bit. Um, so this is our episode for the day before Thanksgiving. So happy holidays, everybody. The holidays are in full swing. It kind of feels more like the holidays now. Um, but if you want to support the show, go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube because we got to get to that lovely 1,000 subscriber mark where we can actually start monetizing things. You can use Prime subs, which if you have Amazon Prime, you get one Prime sub for free, and that means you give us Amazon's money, and that's a great way to support the channel. Um, Comment, like, subscribe. Also, share those links to our YouTube videos because that actually helps us out quite a bit. It boosts us in the algorithm. And as we have all learned from recent events in our political and social history, we are all slaves to the algorithm. Okay? Like, that's just where we are right now. If you missed any of our past episodes, you can always catch those at youtube.com/@the-error-code-show. So we really appreciate all of your support. Jay, it's nice to see you again.
Hello. I didn't want to come back, but they forced me to. Evidently, you can't leave that easily and just stay in another country. So, whoops.
Nope, nope. They get a little cranky about that.
Yeah.
So let's hit some stuff up top. ECC Black Friday sale is happening now. So if you're trying to go to Animal City Comic Con, it's 25% off Thursday and Friday tickets. Jay, you had some thoughts on the Thursday and Friday tickets specifically.
Yes, I love Thursday and Friday. People say, like, oh, well, not everyone's there. You don't have like the cosplayers. And that is why I love it. As a collector, um, Thursday and Friday is perfect for me to go around, buy what I'm going to buy, send stuff off for gradings, get stuff signed. So I love Thursday, Friday. That's where I do, I guess, like my shopping, right? And then and then obviously for the rest of the time you have all of the cosplayers, you have all of the different panels, stuff like that. But yeah, I love Thursday, Friday because they're not packed. So if you're going to ECC, then definitely pick up this 25% off Thursday and Friday.
I am with you. There's actually a couple of vendors specifically that I love Thursday and Friday because they tend to sell out of everything I want by Saturday, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's rough because it's just gone. I'm like, oh, I got lucky last year in that I got there early enough to get some of the stuff that I wanted.
Mhm.
Um, like the Materia store, they sell the vinyls of all the video game soundtracks, like lo-fi
Yeah.
stuff, and like their stuff always sells really, really quick. Um, so yeah, if you are interested in going to ECC, it's kind of a good time to buy your tickets, especially
Definitely.
if you're doing that your Thursday thing. You've got some notes here about an artist and writer who you're
Yeah.
excited about.
So, I mean, obviously, if you go to Comic Con, you know that it's way too early for like real big names to be dropped.
Mm-hmm.
They love to drop all these big names like a month or less before Comic Con when tickets are already pretty much sold out, and you're just like, oh wow, I wish I would have gone. But I'm a huge comic book nerd, obviously. So one comic book artist slash writer that I'm actually really excited about is Mirka Andolfo. I hope I pronounced her name right. So sorry. But she's an award-winning writer and artist. She has a lot of original stuff where she's wrote everything and also did all the artwork. So some of her artwork is like Mercy, Unnatural. In fact, I actually have one of hers right here. So this is like one of her comics that she does, that she's like very known for, that I think that she's won awards for. Um, but so excited to see her. I actually met her two or 3 years ago at Comic Con. She signed some stuff for me and did like a little sketch. She did a Harley Quinn sketch for me because she was an artist for the Harley Quinn series at one point.
Oh yeah.
So, and she's Italian, so she lives in Italy. and for her to come over to the US is kind of like rare. And yeah, this is what I love about Comic-Con, is getting to meet people that I already have your comic books. I'm already reading your stuff. So to have like a conversation with you, and like just I don't know, like have that human interaction, right? So for instance, 2 years ago, a Marvel comic book artist called me a fat ass, and it was the most hilarious thing in the world.
I will say this. Um, this will be the first Emerald City Comic Con that I have not worked in 10 years, and I'm about to kick myself as I'm about to say this. Maybe we'll do some content recording while we're there. Like, do some interviews and have some fun at Comic Con. I know I was like, I'm not gonna have to work this one, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I will end up working this one. Yeah. I always have a good time at Emerald City Comic Con. I've met, working it for as many years as I have, I've met some amazing people at that con. I've also had the experience multiple times where I have people come to the booth and I'm like, and they're like, hi, Alex. And I'm like, hi, person who I'm sure I'm supposed to know.
Oh no.
It sadly happens. In fact, I got recognized today and I was like, right. It's awkward.
Yeah, how are you doing with the stuff that you do? We haven't talked in a while, right?
It's frustrating sometimes. All right. Other quick ones. Notes from the top of the show. Why do I hate Black Friday? I don't hate Black Friday. I actually quite enjoy Black Friday because I don't leave my house. Okay. This is a long running tradition that I have. I play tabletop games all day at my house on Black Friday. It's what I do. What game it is varies year to year. Sometimes I play video games. Sometimes I do that. I was talking to some of the guys. I was like, fuck, man, we'll just throw some Tony Hawk 2 or Tony Hawk Pro Skater on the PS5, the remasters. And like when we're between Magic games, we could just play some fucking Tony Hawk. I find it's a great day with zero pressure to sit down and snack the fuck out and play games. But I don't leave the house.
Well, I don't know how long you've been doing this tradition, but like now you
Many
don't
years.
really have to. Like I've already done all my Black Friday shopping, and I think I did the majority of it like last week because everything is just online and it's like 2 weeks before Black Friday.
Yeah. I know Amazon's already got their Black Friday sales going. A lot of the stores have pulled back on that whole midnight opening stuff. Like they're like, it's not worth it for their workers, which I actually think is good. I'm glad the retailers are like, we're not going to make our employees come in at midnight on Thanksgiving so crazy people can hit them with shopping carts.
Well, oh my gosh. What's that? Oh my gosh. The horror movie. I think it's like it's centered around Thanksgiving. Maybe it's called Thanksgiving, but it literally spoiler alert. The serial killer he's triggered and goes on a murderous rampage because of Black Friday. His
no, I don't know this one.
got
Chat, help
killed
us
by a
out.
shopping cart.
Let us know if you know what he's talking about. That's amazing. I may have to watch that. All right. All right. So we're gonna move on to main topics now. Somebody already did one in the chat. If you have anything you want us to talk about, or stuff you've seen in the news, or other information you may have, something we may have missed, throw it into the chat. We'll try and hit those at the end of the show if we know anything about them, and we may just stick them in the thing. Also, while we're waiting, go ahead and join the Discord. It's in the description of every one of our videos. You can click it right there, and you can just join our Discord because it's a really fun place to go. Even when I have to like slow down the politics channel a little bit, I did slow mode on that because there was some frustration. Speaking of the election, Jay was smart and left the country for the week of the election and got the heck out of Dodge, which I think was probably the smartest thing to do. Jay, why don't you tell the people why they haven't seen you in a few weeks? Tell everybody what you were up to.
Yeah. So I went to pretty much London, Scotland, Ireland, Paris, and a lot of places in between. And yeah, I was gone for 2 weeks. Quick rundown of kind of where I went, what I did. Of course, in London, I did the King's Cross Station and platform 9 3/4. Sorry, I'm super Harry Potter nerd. Um, don't really like the author that much anymore, but that's a different subject. We did the Cliffs of Dover, we did the British Museum, Canterbury Castle, a lot of history there, very insane. We did a historic pub tours with pubs that are hundreds of years old. I mean, like literally where their beer cooler used to be a medieval dungeon. Very insane. We did the Tower of London, Westminster Abbey, Temple Church. We did a tour of the Cotswolds. We did the Scottish National Museum, Edinburgh. We did a little tour of like all the places that pretty much J.K. Rowling was inspired to do Harry Potter. So like literally the school that inspired Hogwarts, the castle that
Hmm.
inspired Hogwarts, where she sat and where she wrote all the books, which is very interesting. Like that story. We did Blarney Castle, obviously Kiss the Blarney Stone. So I have the luck of the Irish for what is it, 7 years now or something?
There you
I don't
go.
know. Um, we did a tour of the Highlands in Scotland. Amazing, beautiful. We did a ring making class in Dublin, so we made our own rings.
Like your own
Um,
clatter rings.
so like you take a piece of like literally just a strip of silver, and then you form it into a ring. I don't know. I don't know if you can. Yeah, that's not going to really work. But so it was really fun little thing. Obviously we did the Louvre, we did Notre Dame, we did the Eiffel Tower, Buckingham Palace. We did the Warner Brothers Harry Potter set tour. We did a tour at Jameson. And I'm probably forgetting a bunch of shit, but yeah. So we were kind of all over the place, running around, walking on average 8 miles a day, sleeping like 6 or 7 hours, being exhausted,
I
and
sure.
it was amazing. Loved it, and I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like I'm escaping the U.S. I'm not going to hear anything about like politics or anything. And then I realized
That you were wrong.
I was so wrong because every Uber driver, train, pub, it was on the front page of every newspaper. Everyone was talking about it, and they follow it so closely. There were even at one point we tried not to go to like Starbucks and stuff, right? Like, but there was a couple of times where we just had to go to Starbucks. It was the only thing around, and the Starbucks barista knew more about our politics than I did, and I was like, "Why? Why?" And the news channels were insane. They were like, Trump appoints blah 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 for cabinet position, headline news, and then it'd be like second story. Um, there's a terrorist attack. Train blew up. X number of people died. Anyways, back to the U.S. election. Like, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is not really what I thought."
Not
And
not
it's
where you thought it was gonna go.
no. And I was surprised obviously by the election. And then also surprised by all the cabinet picks. I'm pretty sure like all of us were. Um and I will say like the tone of everyone in the UK, it was very interesting. Like I was told that America, we're still really young and it's going to take time for us to mature and join the rest of the civilized world. Um, I was told that everyone thought it was a joke until we actually, quote, like, until you guys actually elected that crazy person, then realized it wasn't a joke. um, and then yeah, I heard politicians in the UK like kind of stand up and state that they were going to defend both physically the UK and also the values and the morals of what the UK stands for. And I was kind of shocked by all that. But yeah, that was my vacation.
Chat would like to know whether you went to the William Wallace Monument, Stirling Castle, or Edinburgh Castle.
All right, William Wallace. Unfortunately, so that was on our list to go to the William Wallace thing. We did not. And so personally, my grandmother was a Wallace, and a huge thing in our family. We have a family tree that goes all the way back to the Wallace clan and has William Wallace in our family tree, and that's something that we have been really proud of. So growing up, it's like obviously you watch Braveheart. It's like, hey, he is like your ancestor. Be proud of that. And then obviously we all know how that story ended. So I got to see, for instance, the tower, or not the Tower of London, which is, by the way, not really a tower. It's a miniature little city. It's a lot bigger than the name kind of says. But I got to see London Bridge, where his head was displayed after all of that. But I did get to see like a lot of statues and monuments for William Wallace in Scotland. He's kind of all over the place. I went to a castle, um, forgot what castle. Oh, the Edinburgh Castle. And they actually like do a name like search, and they print off like the history of your name. So I did one of Wallace, and it's the whole clan history of Wallace and everything. Very cool. So unfortunately, no, I did not get to make it out to the William Wallace specific
Monument.
monument.
Mm-hmm.
Really wanted to, but it was just so far out of the way for us. What were some of the other ones?
Well, you mentioned one, Edinburgh Castle. You said you went
Oh
there.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Stirling Castle was the other one that Chad asked about.
No, didn't do that one. Not sure which castle that is. But no, did not do that. Um, did a lot. We did a lot of castles. I think one castle I didn't mention was Rock Castle. I think I might be pronouncing that wrong. That one pisses me off because it's a beautiful place. I'll post a picture of it in our Discord. Um, but the story goes is it's up on a hill, and I think it was definitely Catholic. Sorry, everyone. But I'm pretty sure it was like a bishop or someone. He was stationed there, and he had to go up this hill for church in the castle, and he hated it. So he built a new church in the city below, but nobody wanted to go to it. They wanted to go to this really old historic church that their ancestors went to. So he gets really pissed, and he orders that the roof of the castle be torn off so that people would have no choice but to go to the new one, just because he was very lazy and
Okay.
didn't want to make the trip. And he thought just ripping the roof off, eventually the castle would fall. The castle's in amazing shape. Like if it still had its roof, it would be probably in like pristine condition. But you hear like a lot of stories like that where you're just like, oh damn. Another great thing, the Tower of London. They actually have a monument for all insert 1,000 people that were executed, where like the wood block used to be. So like where, for instance, Anne Boleyn was
Mm-hmm.
executed.
All of
Um,
Henry VIII's wives.
yeah, all of them. And then the little chapel off to the side where they would bury everyone once you were beheaded and stuff. The story, we actually did a tour with the royal service that's stationed there, because it's still a functional military headquarters. It's where all the crown jewels are stored, for instance. We got to do a tour with them. They said Anne Boleyn, the story goes that she didn't want to be beheaded with an axe, so she wanted the old like two-handed sword, so that it would be quick and fast. And according to the reports, that I believe it was like a two-handed claymore or something. um, chops her head off, and they hold her head up, display it to the crowd. Well, when she was executed, she was praying, and when they held her head up, her lips were still moving, and her eyes were still moving around for like a few seconds before everything went blank. So, a lot of death, a lot of death.
And segueing off death, you also have a Starbucks story about, because you mentioned you went to Starbucks,
Oh yeah,
but there was something specific about Starbucks you mentioned in the pre-show.
yeah. Starbucks. So very interesting. Went to Starbucks, realized that they didn't have everything on their menu, as to what I'm used to. So my wife asked about that, like, "Oh, hey, I typically get a something, and I don't see it on the menu." And they stated that in the UK, there's laws prohibiting a certain amount of sugar being added to their drinks. So
Mm-hmm.
that's probably a drink that's high in sugar, and they're not allowed to sell it. And then this is actually the conversation where we got into, like, I started realizing this person knew way more about our politics than I did. Um, Started saying like, "Well, like you guys just appointed RFK for your Department of Health."
Health and Human Services. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's big on that. So you guys will probably be joining us. And then very funny afterwards, he was like, "Where are you guys traveling from?" Said Seattle, and he was like, "The birth of Starbucks." And I was like, "Yeah,
Yep. So the
yeah."
interesting thing is, because Subway actually ran into this problem a few years ago
Mm.
because of the amount of sugar they put in the bread in the US.
Mm.
In the UK, it's classified as cake.
I do remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Right. So this doesn't surprise me. That there's certain things in Starbucks, UK and Starbucks are like, no, we're not allowed to do that.
I think she was trying to order like a white chocolate mocha, and
No.
they're like, "What? You want diabetes? What?" Like they were so confused. It was like, okay. Yeah, it was a great time, a lot of history. I'll try to post some pictures in the Discord, some of my favorite pictures.
So for anybody that wants to know, by the way, Ireland's paying people to move there. So if you want to move to Ireland, they're
Okay.
offering money. I
God,
went to their government website to look it up because I saw a TikTok about it and I was like, okay. So I went to the official website for the Irish government.
Mhm.
And to be clear for our audience, Ireland is not part of the United Kingdom.
No.
Right?
They'll get really mad if you
And they
say
do,
that.
and Brexit was probably a violation of the Good Friday Accords and things like that. Anyway, all that to say, they're paying people to move there right now. Like, if you want, you can.
God, this is just going to be an episode about my vacation. So did see ads for that. Like, hey, if you're thinking about changing your citizenship, click on this link or visit this website. The funny thing about Ireland is I saw a notice from like their Department of Health or whatever, urging people to drink less than 16 pints of beer per week. And also trying to urge people to have 2 days where you don't drink.
Which is something very Irish.
So Irish.
Please don't drink every day. Can we
Please
not
don't drink every day?
Please don't drink every day. And 16 pints a week. All right, so if you divide that by 5 days, the 2 days you're not drinking, you can have 3 pints a day plus an extra one on the 4th day, and you're fine.
You'll be considered healthy in Ireland.
Chad's asking, what are they paying? Where do you have to live? You have to live on the west coast of Ireland, and they're paying up to 84,000 euros.
Wow.
For you to set up in Western Ireland. So, I have looked into this for funds. We've looked into this. I've also looked at and Jay knows why. Actually, I think Jay was on vacation. Jay and my spouse both work at the same company, which I won't disclose here, but they both work at the same company. That company's based out of Europe. And part of their European team was here a couple weeks ago. And some people from the European team were like, talking to my wife, were like, you should move to the country in Europe where we are based. be a project manager in this country instead.
And they actually, before I went on vacation, they actually did reach out to me and was like, Jay, are you sure you don't want to take a PM position in this other country? And I was like, oh, I don't know.
I may or may not have looked at real estate.
So while we were in the Cotswolds, very, okay, Jesus, Cotswolds, very beautiful country, very old. If you know Jeremy Clarkson, he has a farm in the Cotswolds, and he also has a new TV show, Clarkson's Farm, very hilarious. But you also learn about farming. Um, if you watched Bridget Jones's Diary, her parents' house is in the Cotswolds. Some of those houses, yes, go for millions. But you can get like a 300-year-old stone cottage that's beautiful for $400,000, which is cheaper than
Anything in Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but just a side note. Now, you did miss the one thing. If I was going to Ireland, I have a dream of doing the tour at the St. James Gate Brewery.
Okay.
Which is where they brew Guinness.
So for us, it was a toss up between Guinness and Jameson.
I can see why you went with Jameson.
Jameson is really cool.
I want to go there too. But St. James Gate's like higher on my list.
I can't. Fun fact. We're getting to know Jay today. I can no longer drink Guinness after, what was it? About 8 Irish car bombs one St. Patrick's night, mixed with a bunch of other stuff. So like Irish car bombs, obviously beer, random vodka. We all know what happened. I don't have to go into detail, but I think like 3 years I couldn't even smell Guinness without like wanting to vomit. So
my wife has a funny story about Irish car bombs and when we were in our early dating days. All right. Europe. We're all thinking about Europe right now for obvious reasons. Let's go. All right. We're going to move on to our next topic though. Okay. So, our next topic, Secret Lair Magic. They announced a new deck, right? The Secret Lair Commander deck, 20 ways to win. And so we're going to chat about that for a second. I'm going to see if I can switch this properly. Okay. So they have now officially released the full deck list. The deck costs $149.99, which is about in line with everywhere they've put the Secret Lair Commander decks. My wife has the Rin and Siri one. That was the specific Rin and Siri Secret Lair Commander deck. And I want to say it was like 150, 175. It's got some specific stuff. Here is the Commander. Go Shintai of Life's Origin. It's a 5-color commander, which is interesting. Right? And they finally released the full deck list. We got some cool new tokens. Right? A whole crap load of tokens. And now we have the full deck list. Right? Two things I found interesting about this is there are only 2 basic lands in the entire set. 1 plains, 1 forest. That's it. What do you think of the concept here? So apparently there's 20 win conditions.
Hang on one second. I just like I hate Secret. I want to hate Secret Lair. Like
we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
I hate Secret Lair. It's so much Secret Lair. I hate Secret Lair, and I keep buying it, and I want to hate them.
And they bungled the Marvel one so bad. So bad.
Oh, so I missed that. What happened with that?
It was a dumpster fire. The people who set it up, the online service that was doing the Secret Lair thing, One, everybody figured out. So a bunch of people figured out about an hour in that there was a way to skip the queue. There was a technical glitch, and as opposed to
Oh,
Magic fixing it, they just said screw it, right? Um,
oh
they
shit.
sold out in no time flat. It was just a dumpster fire. I'm a little upset. I was gonna grab some stuff, but I just couldn't. Um,
Wow.
yeah. Somebody in our chat is saying it's a shrine deck with various win conditions. This appears to be the thing. There's a shit ton of gates.
Mm.
Orzhov Guild Gate, Dimir Guild Gate. There's a lot of gates. Rakdos Guild Gate, Selesnya Guild Gate. I don't know how much this is going to fall in the EDH salt level. Um, Again, 149. That seems about right for what they've done. But I think this leads us into a conversation about Secret Lair. Because ever since they decided to go away from print on demand for Secret Lair for the most part, I think it's been worse. It just turns into scalper's paradise. And they have not fixed that problem. And so I don't, even if I wanted to buy the Secret Lair, I can't.
So I mean, they're I don't think they actually want to fix the problem. They are very much in a let's print money phase. And as
But
long as it sells,
they
they don't
could
really
print more money, like the Marvel Secret Lair.
care. Mm.
They could have sold more cars than they sold by making it a print on demand.
Oh yeah. That
Um,
part, yeah.
it looks like it's come. Some of the stuff has come down in price, right? For the Marvel Secret Lair. So the Soul Ring's now down to about $12. Commander's Place 27. Storm's Will's down to 24. I wanted the Wolverine because I
Yeah.
wanted to build a Tron deck out of it. Right? It's at 33, $30. It's there. Let's look at America's Ass. America's Ass is going for 35. So it's come down a little bit. I still think that they should have been at the like just print this one on demand. Just go. Like
Yeah. I I'm a little mixed about that because so how it was like before, I honestly didn't really like the like, oh hey, in 4 months or whatever it was, 3 months, you're gonna get like a random charge. Good luck. Because obviously you forget, and then all of a sudden you're like, boom, $120 charge, and you're like, fuck, Secret Lair. Yeah, that's right. It just took so long to get your cards in. So I see what they're doing. But also it's not working. I don't know.
they need to fix the scalper problem, which actually was a problem even with sealed product. And we can go into that another day, and maybe we will. Um, but yeah, Wizards, you got to figure this out. It's getting old. All right, let's move on. We got some comic book news. Jay, take it away.
Comic book news. So I love comic books, obviously. Even when I was on my trip, I managed to pick up this guy that's worth
Oh, look at that.
nothing, but
It looks so good, though.
it is in really good shape. So this is actually issue 56 of Spider-Man Comics Weekly, from 1974. I bought it for £4. It's pretty much worth that. The comic book, it's the cover is in color, obviously, and then all the pages are in black and white. Super, super cool. It's in really good shape. Not valued as a whole lot currently, but just something I was like, wow, that's a super old comic in really good condition. I'm just going to buy it because I love collecting stuff. So I love comics. I'm a sucker for comic book art. I'm a sucker for if the art looks good, I will buy it. So I was a little excited because I've been reading. Let me pull it up. Um, Zatanna. So the recent Zatanna. Um, it's been pretty good. And then today I got notified that DC is rolling out a new Zatanna series.
Oh, fun.
So I think obviously the other series is going really really well. It looks like DC is trying to invest in more into the Mistress of Magic, if you will. But this is supposedly going to be right by Jamal Campbell, I believe, who is the writer for Batman Urban Legends. He's a well-known comic book artist for DC. Has a pretty long list there. So issue one is going to have cover art by him and also be wrote by him. So far, it looks like the only thing that we know about the storyline is obviously she's looking to settle down. She wants to just do magic shows, but like every superhero, she is unable to do that. And her stage crew is kidnapped by a Lady White, who is a new ghostly adversary. Um, but anyways, very interesting. I'm excited about it. Maybe we'll be seeing a lot more of her and kind of like her story. So that goes. That's supposed to release in February 2025. So be on the lookout for that.
It sounds like it's a good thing. So the one that I've been reading the most, and I finally picked the first section trade paperback, is the new Ultimate Spider-Man series.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was really intrigued by this series because he never became Spider-Man. Right? So the maker like goes back in time and like stops all the heroes from becoming heroes, right? And so this is like a mid-30s Peter who's married to MJ, right? Has kids, works at the Daily Bugle, but what's funny is like Uncle Ben is one of the two bosses at the Daily Bugle with J. Jonah Jameson, and they're like best friends. So nice. Ben Parker and JJ are best friends. Some section, and he does become Spider-Man again, but I think it's a really interesting take on what would have happened to Peter if he never became Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right? Just again, mild spoiler. Harry Osborn ends up married to Gwen Stacy.
Wow. Okay.
Right? Like,
so
it's Bizarro World Spider-Man. It's great.
Peter Parker never becomes Spider-Man, then Gwen Stacy is still alive.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing. They just released the first 6 issues as a mini trade paperback.
I think I just picked that up today, actually. I think it's like literally like right there on that stack.
Yeah, I picked up because I picked up one issue because I'd heard about it and I started reading it and I was like, I'm just gonna wait for the trade one. So it's coming back out, the second set, which is gonna be issues 7 through 12, will be coming out soon. So I'm really. It comes out in March. So Married with Children is the first for 6 issues of the set. I just picked that one up. And then the second one is The Paper. Again, it's funny because Ben's still alive and he's hanging out with JJ and they're at the Daily Bugle and it's a lot of fun. So if you haven't picked that one up, I highly recommend it. To the chat there. It's a super fun series. And again, really interesting to see Peter with his 2 kids, still married to MJ though. I mean, I don't know how he pulled her not being Spider-Man, but he did.
Yeah.
Right? So he's still married to MJ.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess, I mean, I don't know. Maybe at some point she just gets tired of like the jocks and stuff and goes for the loving, caring Peter Parker, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, in the series, he's not a bad looking guy. Anyway, I don't want to give away the rest, but if you haven't picked that one up, go ahead and check that one out too. It's really solid. There's some good comics coming out right now. And I also have heard rumor that there's another Last Ronin TMNT comic coming.
What?
Yes. So
I'm like literally flipping through DC Connect right now to see if they like mention it.
Another one.
Yeah.
Rumor has it we're gonna get a trailer for Superman soon.
Wait,
The new Superman movie.
who is Superman in this?
David Cornsweet. They went no name.
Fuck is that?
Exactly. They went no name, and I actually think that's the smart thing to do. Right?
Interesting.
Don't go big name for Superman. He looks like Superman.
Okay.
Hang on, I'll pull up a picture. Hang on. They did a promo picture. Here we go. Not too long ago. Where's it at? I love the rest of the cast. The rest of the cast is great. James Gunn, I think, has got a good... He's got a good feel for it, I think. Let's go to this one again. So that is our new Superman. His name is David Cornsweet. He's been in a few things. Nothing huge. Again, kind of a no-name. I absolutely adore who they got for Lois Lane. That's the thing that got me super hyped, was Lois Lane. I like the costume. Right? I think it's solid. And again, he looks like Superman to me.
He does, yeah.
Again, my favorite part is who they got for Lois. When they were like, this is who's Lois, I was like, okay, I'm sold. Rachel Brosnahan is playing Lois Lane, and I am 100% sold. But we're getting some Green Lanterns in this movie.
God.
We get some Jimmy Olsen, Nicholas Holtzless Luthor. Like, this is not a Superman origin story. He's already been Superman for a minute.
But how does he become Superman? How does Spider-Man become Spider-Man? You have to say it every single time.
So you know what? This is what I loved about Spider-Man Homecoming. Or when they brought Spider-Man into the MCU. I was like, we don't have to watch Uncle Ben die again. Right? Hey, also, I absolutely love their Lois Lane. To answer chat's question. Yes, I think that was absolutely 100% inspired fucking casting. I love Rachel Brosnahan. I think she's a great actress. If you have not watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon, it is a 100% must watch. She is great in the role, and if you watch that movie, you will see where they're going with Lois Lane, or that show. It's amazing. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good. That actually segues us into our next topic. We're going to talk about some movies. Yes. So, in the tradition of Barbenheimer, right? They were trying to recreate it this last weekend with both Wicked and Gladiator 2. Wicked-diator? Glicked? I don't know. They tried. Both movies did fairly well at the box office. I got around to seeing Gladiator 2. Jay, you got around to seeing both, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's start with Wicked, because I haven't seen this. So give me your...
So I'm going to start off by saying I hate musicals. I don't know. It's just something about people breaking out into random dance and song triggers me. Don't like it. There are a few musicals that I do like. Across the Universe, which was like a Beatles thing. I love that. So yeah, I went into Wicked as a, I have the AMC like A-lister, so you might as well go. My wife wanted to see it. I've never seen the play also, so don't know how that stacks up. I really liked Wicked.
I've heard this is good. I've heard even if you don't like musicals,
Yeah.
All the reviews say you don't need to like musicals to like this movie. It's very classic Hollywood.
Yeah.
So you really
It
liked it.
I really liked it. It was very surprising to me. I thought the storyline was obviously pretty predictable. Like,
How did it do pacing wise? Because it's a long film. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
so I did not feel like I was there for 2 hours and 40 minutes. I felt I felt like Gladiator 2 was long. Like I started
Mm-hmm.
being like, okay, okay, like what? Come on. I never got that from Wicked. Yeah, I think what's her name? Ariana Grande does a she is a really good at pulling off a complete bitch. Sorry.
So she's a good
Because
Glinda.
yes. um so yeah, I liked it. I don't know. I thought like it was visually very stunning. I liked the songs. Storyline I liked. I don't know.
How is
I
Jeff Goldblum as the wizard? That was the one that I was curious about.
I mean,
Because I love Jeff Goldblum.
yes. I'm a huge fan of his. I think he was great as a wizard. You don't see him a lot. Like he's obviously at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I shouldn't say spoiler, but obviously spoiler, like he's the bad guy in this, right? We should know that. But yeah, I don't know. I thought he did great. I will say I did not know this was part one. So this movie does not end. Like it ends, but there's going to be another one.
Releases
Um,
next year.
yes. So I did not know that. It doesn't leave you at like a cliffhanger at all, which I liked because I
You
feel
didn't
like that
feel unsatisfied at the end.
right. I felt like if they wanted to, they didn't have to make the second one. I'm not going to spoil the ending here, but basically, let's just say everyone just rides off into the sunset, right? Like that kind of ending of a movie, and you're like, oh, cool, and then you're like, oh, wait, this was part one, so like, there's going to be another one. Um, but yeah, I liked it. I don't know. I liked it better than Gladiator 2. Sorry, everyone. Maybe that's me getting
No,
old.
so we're gonna talk about this in a minute, but let's chat about the box office. Wicked did great. It made 112 million at the box office over the weekend, just over 112 million five. Gladiator 2 did 55, which is again very respectable number.
Yeah.
Um, not like woo, but still a very respectable box office. Um, so I didn't have a chance to see Wicked. I did see Gladiator 2. And I went and saw it with a friend of mine, and I walked out and I went, that was a movie.
Yeah.
It was
Uh,
it was one of those ones where I walked out and I was like, it was fine.
yep.
It wasn't bad.
Nope.
It wasn't great.
Nope.
Um, it rhymed with the first film, right?
Yeah.
Again, I don't. So when I walked out, my issue wasn't that I felt it was too long. My issue was I felt that there was about 30 minutes that could have been better used, right? So again,
Yeah.
without going into spoilers, the main character is there at the beginning of the film, right?
Mm.
And I'm not going to say who he is. It's Paul Mescal's character. He's there at the beginning of the film, and he's this fighter dude with his wife. I could have taken 30 of the minutes that I thought was badly used elsewhere and give me 15 minutes more at the beginning to establish him, his relationship with his wife, and his relationship with the city that he's in at the beginning of the film, right? Because they just kind of jump straight into it, and I'm like, I don't know why I care, right?
100% agree with that. Yes.
Give me more of that. Tell me why, right? There were some reveals at the end of the film that I think could have been handled a little bit better. Wasn't terrible, but it could have been better. And I think we could have used more with Pedro Pascal's character because there was a settled moment in the early part of the movie that kind of sets up where his character's headspace is, and I picked up on it.
Yeah.
My friend didn't.
Oh.
Right? Because again, it's one of those kind of like really quick moments in the film, and I'm like, okay, I see where he's at, right?
Are you talking about? Don't. I'm gonna try not to spoil those. But are you talking about where it's like
right after the battle?
Yeah. So
Right out. Obviously, it's Gladiator. There's lots of battles.
Yeah.
Right after the first battle, there's a moment that if you're paying attention, you can see it. And hats off to Pedro. He did the absolute best he could with the material. Same with Denzel.
Yeah.
But there's a moment right after the first battle where you're like, if you're watching closely, you can see his character do some stuff like in his face.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Yep.
It's very quick, and
Yep.
you may not pick up on it, and it leads into what happens later. There was also a turn with the main character in the middle of the movie, or maybe 3/4 of the way through,
Yeah.
where his attitude is one way, and he's like, "Fuck y'all, fuck you, fuck you, fuck everybody," and then all of a sudden he's like, "Never mind, these people aren't so bad," and you're like, "Where did that come from?" Like, 10 minutes ago, you were trying to murder all these people.
Yeah. I think that's like easily explainable though.
So supposedly the director's cut is 4 hours.
Oh God.
And I'm sure the studio was like, you cannot release a 4-hour movie, Ridley. Your last 2 movies have bombed.
Yeah.
We'll give you 2.5. So he did what he was told.
Yeah.
And so I've heard there's a 4-hour cut of the film. Which I'm hoping adds to some of the things that are bugging me about this.
So I would say it probably does. Because like what you kind of like the character flip halfway through, right? Seemed very much to me like the Martha, and then all of a sudden we're friends and we're gonna go fight crime together, Batman, Superman. Very freaking weird. But anyways, how my issue with Gladiator 2, and you definitely said this, too many characters, but not enough time for us to really care about any character. Like, and maybe that extra time you're going to build everyone's backstory, and
And
you're going to kind of fall in love with some of these characters, and you're going to see them clash later on.
and
Also,
exactly,
I don't know.
I just didn't give a shit. That was
Yeah.
my problem with the whole movie. Some of the chat's asking about May Callum, why was she is cut as she is cut out of the film. Now, a lot of people are making a very, very big deal about this in the thing because of temptation. I don't think that has anything to do with why she was cut from the film. Again, the film's 2.5 hours. The director's cut's 4. I would say that based on the article that was sent to me, I went and looked at, and immediately in the first 2 paragraphs, it was one of those, she was cut, it's horrible. I was like, but they misstated who she was supposed to be. Like, they didn't, whoever wrote the article hadn't seen the film. Because I was like, that's obviously not who she was supposed to be. And then I did some more digging as to who she was supposed to be in the film. I think I see why her scenes got cut. I think it would have muddied the water even more.
Yeah.
Again, I would not be surprised, because this is also not the first time that Ridley has done this, to see a director's cut pop up sometime late next year on digital and DVD. Yeah. And this may be a Kingdom of Heaven situation where with Kingdom of Heaven, the theatrical cut was one way, and then when you went back and watched, and it was Ridley Scott, his cut, it's an entirely different film. You're like, oh crap, that really was, unlike most director's cuts, that really was a big difference. And again, they're talking about her political stuff here. In this case, I don't think that's what happened. Knowing who her character was supposed to be, her character was supposed to be Denzel Washington's character's like consort, lover, partner. so I can see why, if they were trying to kind of like push him down the road they were going for, why they wouldn't want him to be humanized anymore. They don't want him to be good. You don't want him to. You don't want people to empathize with him. I don't think. So no, I don't think it was a political issue. I really do think it was we just don't know how to put this character in here now that we've got to do the final cut. So we'll see. That actually kind of brings us to our second to last topic today. Somebody had brought this up. I saw this online. The top 10 films grossing this year are all sequels. All of them. And that is the first time in the history of Hollywood that's happened. In order, it's Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, Despicable Me 4, Beetlejuice, Dune Part 2, Twisters, Godzilla x Kong, Kung Fu Panda 4, Bad Boys Ride or Die, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. For the domestic.
Wow. Okay.
That has never happened before. So why do you think this is the case, Jay? Like, is there something specific about, again, this has never happened in the history of Hollywood, where every single movie in the top 10 grossing is a sequel of some sort. And looking at the remainder of the year's release schedule, I think the only other one that I think is going to break in there, Wicked probably will. Yeah, Wicked's going to beat Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes this weekend. It'll be Bad Boys by the end. Godzilla. It'll move before end of year. It'll move to number 7 easy. So Wicked will do that, but it's still an adaptation. It's not original.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, obviously it's like a prequel, right? It's a prequel to fucking Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
So I'll give it that. I think almost it kind of seems like, from a marketing point of view, you're going after the people that kind of grew up watching the original one, but are now old enough and have the money to go and spend on, I don't know, seeing the movie in theaters. So I think, like, obviously, like Beetlejuice, that one, the first Beetlejuice, what was like 80s?
Yes. Early
So
90s.
so that one's a little bit older than all the other ones, but
88.
Okay, 88. So I don't know if I don't know if it's like just marketing, where it's like you're playing on the like nostalgicness of all these movie titles, or if it's B, everyone is like post-COVID celebration, or a combination. I don't know, because, like, for instance, last weekend I went out to eat, and I saw a Buzz Lightyear on a kid's table,
Sure.
and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, that just brought back my childhood. I grew up with like Toy Story. I had a Buzz Lightyear, and it was like, it's so good to see like young kids now still enjoying like the same toys I had when I was a kid. Um, so I think maybe that. Um,
So,
maybe it's like also like, people saw these movies as kids, now they're adults, now they have kids and they're taking their children to like also have like the same experience that they had when they were children. I don't really know. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
so I think it's 3 things. And again, the person who'd put out this information to me, they were like ringing an alarm bell. This is terrible. This is terrible.
What?
Yeah, like,
Why?
because a lot of people feel that Hollywood is going down the toilet, is terrible, and da 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 da.
Go see Wicked.
To which I would say the following three things. Looking at the top 10 grossing box office, which I've got up on the screen right now, right? First off, 3 or 4 of those movies in that top 10 are really, honestly, just good films, right?
Yeah.
Inside Out 2, good movie. Great movie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Great movie.
I thought Deadpool and Wolverine was a very fun movie, right?
Amazing.
Okay? Dune Part 2. I have nothing to say negative about Dune Part 2.
Amazing.
I'm a big fan of the Bad Boys franchise, so I'm just saying that for the record. I like that movie. King of the Planet of the Apes, good film. Again, they're not bad films, so let's put that to the side, okay? These weren't crappy films that just happened to gross high. I think there's a couple things, and the other thing that I want to point out is, as one of my favorite movie guys points out, there are more original films released in Hollywood right now than any point in history. None of you go see them. Straight up. None of you go see them. Right? Civil War. Original film. 126 million. Right? Argyle, 96 million. Right? I'm just going down the list. Fly Me to the Moon, which I thought looked amazing. Like, original film, 42 million. Right? They put out original movies and you guys don't go see them. Now, why does this happen? Look, going to the movies is not as cheap as it used to be, and there's not B-run theaters anymore and stuff like that. So when people want to go see a movie right now, they want to have, I would say, a better than 45% chance that it's a good film. Right? If people are unsure, right? People like you and me have A-list, so we get 3 free movies a week, so screw it. We'll just go see stuff. But for the average family, right? Let's say I take me, my wife, and my kid to the movies. Right? $60 for tickets. $45 if we're doing a matinee. Right? $30 for popcorn and sodas and candy and all that shit. You're $65, $70 in to go to the movies. Right? So, I understand why people want to be sure that the movie is good. Right? Before they spend their money.
Yeah.
Right? So, are you going to spend money going to see... I'm going to pull another one up here that came out
Borderlands.
This year. Borderlands. I saw this movie a couple weeks ago because I went to go see it. That new Tom Hanks movie, Here, that was directed by Robert Zemeckis. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a brand new film, completely original, interesting concept, right? And I want to bring this up to you, right? Robert Zemeckis, who directed Forrest Gump. Who does it star? Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. Both from Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is a great movie. I saw this movie in theaters. Completely original. It's made $13 million.
Oh, God.
So, $13 million. That's all it's made. Right? So when people are saying to me, Hollywood's not making original shit. No, they made this. This is great. I'm looking at it right here. It was a good movie. Was it Forrest Gump? No, it was not. But was it a good film? Yeah, absolutely. And again, somebody in the chat is saying, give me experimentation. This was a very experimental movie. The camera does not move the entire film. Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
It shifts time periods by sliding like this weird, and it's a really cool concept. But literally, the whole movie takes place in one place in space, right? Literally from the time of the dinosaurs until present day, right? Literally the dinosaurs to now. It all takes place in this one space throughout time.
You
right?
know,
It's a cool film. I didn't regret seeing it, right? It was one of my A lists because I was like, just
yeah.
didn't want to see it. So I was like, I'm going to see it for free. And she was doing something with Jordan. I was like, you know what? How long is this going to take you? 2.5 hours? Awesome. I'm just going to go check this flick out real quick because I know you guys don't want to see it. But it made 13 million bucks. And it's Robert Zemeckis and Tom Hanks. And it made less than $20 million.
You know, I just got an idea. I
What do you got?
wish there was a way to charge like $7 or $8 for a movie ticket, you not know what the movie is, and then it be an original film that you probably saw no marketing for and be completely surprised. I wish something like that existed. Oh wait, it does.
It does.
It's called Screen Unseen, and it's I love it because of that fact, because you don't know what the movie is, and typically it's something that you never would probably go see.
To think to go see, yeah.
So my favorite example is Kneecap, um, which I loved. I thought it was a great movie,
I'm
but
going to let you keep going. I got to step away for just a second.
oh, he has to go to a potty, everyone. You know, he's getting older. Um, anyways, but yeah, Kneecap, a great film. Something I would never actually go see probably in a movie theater. I saw no trailer for it. I had never heard of this movie before. I believe the screen and scenes are like $7 or $8. You go. Don't know what the movie is. I will say that if you are, you can cheat a little bit if you're in the Seattle area like I am. Obviously, the East Coast is going to figure out what the screen unseen is, post on Reddit. You can look and see what the movie is and decide if you want to cancel your tickets or not. I don't do that though. I just like to go and see what the movie is. I will say, um, the last screen unseen was actually Gladiator 2, and people were pissed about it because of the reason of they want Screen Unseen to be a movie that they don't know anything about, that it's not going to be a blockbuster movie. And I was actually shocked that it was actually Gladiator 2. My only thought on why they picked it to be a Screen Unseen was to try to get word of mouth, like kind of built up about it, because they knew they were going to go to war with Wicked, essentially. Um, so yeah, a lot of people were mad about that. I was actually kind of surprised that it was the Screen Unseen, but I was just talking about how Gladiator 2 is the Screen Unseen, and people were pissed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I love the Screen Unseen, because it forces you to watch these movies, and a lot of times they're great movies. I've only had one bad experience. It was I believe the movie's called Makeup. I didn't really like it, but every other movie that I've seen, I've loved, and I've never heard of the title. Um, yeah, I saw no trailer for the movie, so you're surprised. But please, like, if you want something original and you want something cheaper, it is a
Yep.
gamble, I will
Yep.
say, but check
Regal
out Screen
Regal
Unseen.
Regal also does a similar project.
Mm,
The Screen and Scenes, again, if you go to the AMC app, you don't have to be an A-list member. You can just download the AMC app and create an account, and you can find the Screen and Scenes. Somebody asked me how much did the cast, producers, directors make right off the bat. For here, it was $45 million. That was it. It was
Yeah.
not a high budget film, and they had Tom Hanks,
yeah.
okay, and Paul Bettany, and some named actors in there, okay. It wasn't that. It's people don't go see these movies. They just don't, and it
And
sucks.
I also think that like marketing is just king. Like
Oh,
Wicked, I mean, what, 2 or 3 months before Wicked came out, you had Wicked Starbucks drinks, like Wicked was everywhere.
and I'm sure their marketing budget was massive.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna look and see if I can find what their market budget.
I mean, it would have been cool though to get a gladiator, like someone's head as like a popcorn bucket.
They had a
Nice.
gladiator popcorn button with the Coliseum.
Okay, that actually sounds cool. I did not see that.
Um, Wicked's marketing cost $150 million. So this is the other thing I think they do run into, which is how do you market something like here in the modern day, right?
Yeah.
Back in the old days, you would throw TV spots up on network television for a 15, 30-second spot, 10 times in a week just so people could see it. I don't know how you market stuff like that anymore. It's really difficult. It really is. It is difficult to market some of these. Again, I don't know how you do it.
So I will say I did take a marketing class, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago now. They talk about current day marketing, a lot of it, and you're going to start seeing so much more of it. And this is a huge issue and a huge concern that everyone should pretty much be kind of aware of and be worried about. It's Gen Z. Gen Z,
They're
they
hard to market to.
idolize, well, kind of, but their heroes and the people that they idolize, it's not who you and I idolized growing up. It is self-made content creators.
Yep.
Um, so what ends up happening is you get massive marketing firms going out to content creators like us. If you want to reach out to us, no, I'm kidding. And they very much will offer to pay people
Mm-hmm.
uh, to do reviews. To like, hey, you know what? We will go. Like, we'll pay for you to go see a very small pre-screen.
Marketing
Uh,
junkets. Yep. I've seen stuff like it before. And yeah,
talk,
I would totally
talk
think.
about Gladiator.
Yeah.
Get word up, make TikTok videos for Gladiator, do content for Gladiator, build up content. And the issue is that we talked about in the marketing class is you start surrounding yourself in a very fake world where you have all these content creators talking about how wonderful and perfect Gladiator is. And then you go see Gladiator and you realize it's not good. Sorry, like it is good, but it's not as good as you thought it was going to be. But you're surrounding yourself in a very fake bubble. So
So to answer a question from chat, because they're saying, are they
yeah,
paying for the review they want or an honest review? What they're paying for is not a review. Okay. So you got to understand the difference between reviewers
mm,
in the traditional sense of the word and promotion, right?
yeah,
What studios are paying influencers to do is to promote a film, right? I got to go to a red carpet. Look at the people I met. I will talk
mm,
to these 4 people and I'll see the movie, right? Newspapers and people like that hired film critics who are
yes,
trained in film criticism,
yep,
right? Uh, Actually, a class I took in college. Um, and it's actually harder than it looks,
yeah,
right? Film critique is difficult, right? Because there's multiple facets you have to look at from did the movie just do what it was supposed to do to how does it measure up as a piece of art, right?
yeah,
As film is, right? And there's different criteria that different critics assign to this. Um, they're paying influencers to promote their film because, as Jay said, that's who Gen Z is listening to, right?
yep,
And this is the problem: is that line between promotion and critique has blurred, right? Okay, influencers don't want to get on a blacklist or be excluded from the opportunity to promote because it's a mutually beneficial situation. The studio gets to promote their film, but I got to see Deadpool and Wolverine 7 days before everybody else, which means the algorithm's going to feed my content where I tell you about Deadpool and Wolverine earlier than everybody else, where time is a huge factor, right? And so I don't want to get cut off, right? This is the problem with the new media environment. And I don't think anybody's figured out a solution yet.
oh, um, yeah, no solution. And marketing class was like, it's only going to get worse. It's going to get way worse as Gen Zers start taking over the market. Um, this is going to be a huge, like in 10 years from now, they said this is going to be a huge issue where you're not going to know the difference between, for instance, like a movie critic and just like some random J guy in a freaking podcast talking randomly about how Gladiator 2 was just somewhat weird. I don't know. But um and even they even talked about how studies show where if a company reaches out and says like, "Hey, we're gonna give you this free, I don't know, this free stapler. It's a stapler. Do an honest review. No pressure. Just do an honest review. You could say something bad about it. You could say something good about it. Studies show that if that happens to you, you are compelled to leave a good review. Because one, like you mentioned, you want more free stuff, and you feel like if people see me leaving a bunch of free reviews, more companies are going to reach out to me, and then maybe I'm going to like review Funko Pops or something. I don't really know.
So
Um,
somebody's
so even like the reviews are kind of biased.
somebody's bringing up Rotten Tomatoes, right?
Oh, I've never liked Rotten Tomatoes.
Here's the thing. I'm actually going to go the other way.
Okay.
I'm going to defend Rotten Tomatoes.
No, don't.
And
Are they
here-
paying you? Are you on their payroll?
I am not. Hashtag not a sponsor. But here's why I'm going to defend Rotten Tomatoes, right? Chat, you can go ahead and do this too. But Jay, give me a film.
Film.
Something released in the last 2 years.
Okay, I'm gonna give you Twisters because you can't run from your fears. You gotta ride them.
Okay. We're going to look at Twisters. Okay.
Let's go.
This again. So Rotten Tomatoes instituted a program a few years ago where they track your movie ticket through either AMC or Fandango. So if you put a review as a fan on the site, right, they know whether you bought a ticket or not. So you can't just, they were trying to get around people who were review bombing. Okay.
Yeah.
Twisters. It's within 15%. Both certified fresh, certified hot, right? By both the audience, verified audience score, and by things. Give me another movie. Go ahead. Go ahead, chat. You too. But while we're waiting for chat, Jay, give me one more.
I don't know. Deadpool, Wolverine.
Within 15%. Okay. 25,000 verified ratings, 410 reviews. Right? Let's go. Joker 2, Folie Deux, which we talked about on the show a few weeks ago. You can hear his things. Look at their meter. 32-32. Dead on even. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Let's go with, what's another one that came out within the last couple of years?
Look up Kneecap. I'm curious on that.
May not be enough reviews, but let's take a look. 95, 96.
Dang. Go
Okay.
see that, by the way. That's a great movie.
Let's see here. What else have I seen this year? Oh, this was a fun one. If you haven't seen this one, nobody saw this movie either. I saw it. It had Dev Patel. I love Dev Patel. 89, 83, within 6%. Right? Monkey Man. Right?
It was a good movie.
It was a really good movie. Okay? Had some problems, but it was a
Yeah.
good film. Okay? The point that I'm making, and this is again, this will be my defense of Rotten Tomatoes. Wild Robot, 97, 98. Terrifier 3, 77, 85. Conclave, 92, 85. Right? Believe it or not, most of the time, Wicked, 90, 96. Gladiator, 71, 83. Most of the time, when you get down to verified reviews, once they fixed the problem, right? Okay? Of the review bombing, right? They're usually within 15%. 92, 95 for Dune 2. Right? So when people are like, but you know what? Again, once they fixed review bombing, right?
Yeah.
They've got a pretty good program set up. I gotta kind of give it to them. Like, credit where credit is due. You know, The Penguin. You said you watched The Penguin. The show,
Oh God,
95, 92.
just so good.
95% from the critics, 92% from the audience. Right? Um, there is, again, I don't want to bust their chops too much. But yeah, they appear to have fixed that problem. So I will give Rotten Tomatoes credit. And here's the thing, I'll give the critics credit. A lot of the critics, the certified critics by Rotten Tomatoes, they kind of understand the audience now. You know what I mean? And how they're reviewing the films. You know, again, I went the same way too. Somebody had to point it out to me, right? Where they were like, no, it's actually they seem to have fixed it. Somebody brought up Dune Prophecy, 6860. Okay. They seem to have fixed the problem, right? Actually, here's another one. Let's look at Venom. The Last Dance. This is one of the only ones. Here's one, and I'll bet you I can tell you why, too, where it's way off. This is the first one I found that's way off. Tomato meter 41, audience score 81. This is the first one I found in this last 10 minutes, like, where it's way off. Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't happen very often. You know. Usually it's pretty close. So, take that for what it's worth. Somebody wants us to talk about Dune Prophecy. I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it yet. You've watched the first episode or two?
The first two. I think that's all that's out right now, is the first two.
I'm behind.
So right now, I will say, from my point of view, it seems like they're doing a lot of story building. They're building up like the foundation for everything. I don't know a lot of Dune lore, so I was a little surprised for the very opening to be kind of like a Terminator movie. I didn't know there was a war against the machines.
Oh yeah.
So I literally paused the movie, or sorry, the show, and was like, did I click on the right thing? The
Butlerian Jihad is actually what it is in the books.
Okay. So I read like the first, like the Dune book. I saw the original Dune movie, and then obviously saw the remakes. But I think I was like a kid when I read like the Dune book, and I don't remember anything from that, like, at all. So not a huge like lore of Dune. I just want to watch it. Show me the pretty things. So I say right now it's not fair to kind of judge it. I'm curious as to where it goes. I think it's fine right now, but it is one of those things like pretty much like Gladiator 2, where you're like, yep, I watched a show today. You know? Not something to go and like, I don't know, go grab a broomstick and start singing Wicked. I didn't do that. I totally didn't do that. But yeah, so I'll have to see. We'll see where it kind of goes. Hopefully I get more excited about it. Obviously Dune Part 1, Part 2 was amazing. I loved it. So yeah, hopefully it gets better. It's not like Penguin. Gosh, if you haven't seen Penguin, please go watch Penguin. It's the best show I've seen all year.
I'll be honest, I trust HBO. Like, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Okay? Because even before the streaming era, HBO was known for their prestige television, right? HBO's always been good at this. This is what HBO does. They have always done short season, prestige television, going all the way back to The Wire and Sopranos and all these films, or all these shows. That's what HBO does. They're very, very good at it. So I have a lot of faith that it's going to turn out okay. Um,
Yeah.
these are very difficult pieces of source material from that era of sci-fi to do, right? This is
Yeah.
also why Denis Villeneuve has said, I'm doing Dune Messiah and then I'm done, right?
Mm.
Because once you get to God Emperor of Dune, it gets weird. It gets
Mm.
weird real quick, right?
Yeah.
Uh, this is difficult for them. Um, it's what happened with Foundation, right?
Mm.
Which was to me a abject disappointment. It was the opposite of Dune.
Mm.
Um, Warner Brothers did a great job with Dune. Warner Brothers, who owns HBO, you know,
Yeah.
Apple with Foundation, not so much.
Yeah. I will have to see. Like, I'm curious on where it goes. I will say I get like very Game of Thrones vibes
And I
because there's a
that's a
lot of
lot of the
houses.
story, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of houses, a lot of
Okay,
characters,
what
a
is
lot
this?
of
Is
moving
this
pieces.
how many years after the Butlerian Jihad? How long after the War of the Machines?
So it starts off like not so
Because
long
it
after the
says it
war.
right.
Yeah, and then I think it's 160 years or 100 years or something. Um, so I don't want to like give stuff away, but like it kind of like starts and then it jumps like 160 years, I think, after the war. And then something like 10,000 years before like the Dune movie, like all that stuff takes place.
Yeah. 299. I'm looking at just random stuff. 140 years after the Butlerian Jihad.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So right after the Butlerian Jihad.
Yeah, and again, I was shocked for like a freaking sorry. It's like in the first like 10 seconds, but an opening scene like the Terminator where machines are just killing everyone. You're like, wait, where's like the sand people? What? Where's the spice? I don't understand what's happening right now. So yeah, so I'm not like a follower of like the Dune lore.
There's so much of it. So much. Somebody asked about Arcane season 2. I haven't watched it yet. I'll be honest, I've not gotten through Arcane.
I have not watched. I did watch season one. I want to go back through and rewatch season one and then watch season two. I've not watched season two at all. So yeah, I can't talk about that. But um, yeah, I'm also not. I also don't play the video game. Sorry, everyone. Don't play the video game. But yeah, I'll watch. I'll watch season two.
I gotta get around to it. It's on my list. There's another one that just popped up on my list that I gotta chop into my list of stuff. Somebody in the chat said, "Dude, like Warhammer, too much lore." Again, this is why the films worked because they take a very specific period of time,
Hmm.
right, and
Yeah,
specific events, and do that. And again, this is why Denis Villeneuve is stopping after Dune Messiah. He has already said, Warner Bros. Can do whatever they want. I'm not doing anything after Dune Messiah because
yeah.
it gets
Is
weird.
is Henry Cavill still doing Warhammer?
The last news report said they have until the end of the year to lock down the concept before Amazon shelves it.
Mm, dang. Okay.
Warhammer's another one of those properties that I think is very difficult to do. I think a lot of people are like, this should be easy. It's not. I don't think it's easy. I had this conversation with somebody about a week ago. They were like, this should be really easy for Henry to do. I'm like, no. It's not simple. Like, writing these kinds of stories are hard.
Yeah.
Well, and people are like, well, just do this. I'm like, here's the thing. You aren't appealing to Warhammer fans. There are not enough of them in the world to make this a successful show.
Mm,
You
yeah.
have to get to the normies. Marvel only became successful because in the old days, and I'm sure you know this, Jay, right?
Mm,
When they were making like the original Fantastic Four movies and stuff like that, and comic
God.
book fans were the only ones going to them, they fucking tanked financially. You have to get non-comic book people to go to the film. That's how you make
Yeah.
$2 billion.
I
You
will
know?
say, those of you that are young, there was a dark time when people were made fun of for reading comics and watching nerdy comic book movies and watched anime, and we had to do such in secret. Um, and then, I don't know, something happened.
The
Belle
internet.
Delphine
Yep.
became a thing. So I don't know.
Have I watched Overlord on that? Put it this way, Netflix doesn't advertise their stuff, so I'll be honest, I don't even know what it is.
Wait, what is it?
Overlord on Netflix?
Wait, is that a movie, Overlord? Isn't that like a movie that came out like 3 years ago that was amazing?
I have no idea. Hang on. Again, Netflix doesn't advertise things.
Yeah, I'm showing 2018 movie.
I see a show from 2022. Maybe. Again, Netflix doesn't advertise shit. Yeah, it's so it's the one from 2022.
There's an anime that looks like it could be.
I think chat's saying it's the anime series. Again, Netflix doesn't advertise shit. Shit just pops up on Netflix and hopefully you hear about it.
Is it good? Is it good though? Is it does anyone know in the chat? Is Overlord anime with all the women with the big boobies? Is that good? Is that a good? Do we know?
Ooh, somebody in the chat saying Calisthenics is grounded maintaining the core material. I don't know. Again, there has been nothing that I would consider reliable reporting about what's going on with the Amazon Warhammer series. I see a lot of trolls and unsourced shit, and this is why Amazon, get woke up. I have no idea. I have no idea why they're having a hard time hitting on a concept for the Warhammer show. They may have already done it. I checked because somebody asked me last week. They haven't named a showrunner, so that may be the issue, is finding a showrunner, right? It's not easy to do. Yeah, I don't know what the status of it is. This one may be things. If you want to read about, actually, here's a really, I'm gonna put this up in the thingy. This is one of my, for those of you that want to learn, like, Alex, where did you hear about all this shit? I'm gonna give you a book that I love, right? That will kind of show you, kind of a behind the scenes, right? It's called Tales from Development Hell, right? This is a great book if you want to know about why and how certain things in Hollywood get made, right? And they outline a series of movies and stuff, some which eventually get produced, some which don't. But it kind of talks about, this is what happens behind the scenes that most people don't know about, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, this is how Hollywood development works. So if you're looking for a good book to understand how Hollywood development works and doesn't work, this is a great book about that. And again, this is why I'm reticent anytime somebody's like, well, this got reported. Dude, there's so many people on Twitter and YouTube and all these TikTok who are like, sources tell me blankety blank blank blank, right? And I don't listen to them because, quite frankly, they don't know. They're making shit up for clicks. There's like 2 or 3 independent sources that I listen to frequently. One I've talked about on the show before. Daniel RPK on Twitter, he's right about 70% of the time. He's still wrong sometimes, but he's pretty reliable. But if it's not in Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, or Deadline, most of the time I think it's BS. So, wow, we've been going for an hour and 40. I think we're going to get ready to cut the show now, guys.
Yeah, I gotta go watch this Overlord because I'm watching this like purple blob with a butthole. I don't understand what's going on.
All right, so you're gonna go watch that. Our team, we've given you a bunch of movies and stuff. We will
Yeah.
be back next Wednesday with another show for you guys. We're back in for the holidays. And again, if you missed any of our previous episodes, go ahead and go check out the YouTube channel. You can watch them on Twitch on demand. And again, subscribe, share them with your friends. That's the big thing that really helps us defeat the algorithm demon. So, Jay, does it feel good to be back?
No, it doesn't. Fuck. It's
We had a pretty positive show today. We didn't get into anything crazy or
It
mean.
was.
All
it
right.
was a great show.
All right, folks. Have a wonderful week. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Spend some time with your loved ones, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.